Coming up on Wavelength, LCRA responds to a legislative proposal to sell the LCRA electric system. The Abilene boys repeat their 1937 journey down the Colorado River, and we'll show you a new video produced on the Fayette Power Project. Those stories and more are next on Wavelength.
From the Lower Colorado River Authority, this is Wavelength.
Hi everybody and welcome to Wavelength. The big story, of course, the recent suggestion that LCRA's electric system be sold to provide some money to offset the state's budget deficit. The Republican caucus recommended the sale outright. State Comptroller John Sharp disagrees with the idea of selling, but said nonetheless that he recommended forming a committee to study the idea. We asked General Manager Mark Rose for his reaction to all of this.
We don't like either one of those ideas. We don't want to approach it defensively. We have a great story to tell and a great history. But the fact is there's nobody else going to tell our story other than LCRA. So our board has made a strong statement. Our customers are making strong statements to newspapers and to the legislators. And we as employees can make a strong statement by doing our jobs and keep doing them well. And if we'll just perform and get done the things that we said we were going to do this year, then that'll go a long way to seeing us through all this mess. I don't think we'll know anything definitively until the end of July, maybe the first part of August.
By now, many of you have heard about the Abilene boys, the three aging gents who are canoeing the Colorado River from Ballinger to the Gulf of Mexico. Well, after a rough start, which forced one of the trio to leave the trip, Jim Pickard and Winfield James steered their 17-foot canoe through the heart of LCRA's service area. Along the way, they stopped at the San Saba ranch of LCRA's newly appointed board member, Betty Jo Miller.
James,
Hello,
you're an
Mr.
absolute lifesaver.
Well, I'm so glad you all got here. We've been looking for you. And these are my grandchildren. This is...
From San Saba, the pair made their way downstream, passing through the Highland Lakes. At Mac Starkey Dam, crews hoisted the canoe up and gently placed it into Lake Travis. A day later, the two men paddled their way into downtown Austin, where they held a news conference to thank LCRA and to promote water quality.
And I just hope that if our effort here doesn't do anything more than just focus a little attention on the question of where are you going 50 years from now.
The following week, the two passed through Bastrop, Smithville, and LaGrange as they made their way to Matagorda Bay. This wasn't the first time the three made this 660-mile journey. Back in 1937, the three youths from Abilene made the trip in 28 days.
LCRA caps with the new company logo are being distributed to all employees and are receiving some good comments. The caps are something that a number of employees have been asking for, and yet there have been some questions, to which General Manager Mark Rose responded.
Well, anytime you start telling somebody what to wear, then you're gonna, or what not to wear, you're gonna make some people mad. And there's some employees that don't like the fact that you know, come down with a rule saying don't want you to wear other companies' caps on company time. But if you think that through, I mean, it really does make sense. I mean, while we're working, you know, our job is to show pride in LCRA, and it is to promote LCRA, and it's not to promote the local feed company or another co-op, or in some cases, you know, our competitors. So therefore, asking everybody not to wear any cap other than an LCRA cap while working. I collect gimmick caps myself, so I mean, I've got nothing against gimmick caps. We've issued caps to everyone, because I didn't think it would be fair to say, well, you can't wear anything but an LCRA cap, and here you go buy one. So we've issued everybody an LCRA cap. If you don't like the company issue cap, well, then there are fancier caps that you can buy from the Activities Club, and I wouldn't care if different units went together and they can design their own LCRA cap if they want to, long as it's an LCRA cap. But the bottom line is, if you're walking out that door and there's something that's bothering you about putting on that LCRA cap, then there's something you ought to think about.
When the public takes a tour of the Fayette Power Project, one of the things that happens is they are shown a video. The video needed updating, and that work has recently been completed. We thought you might like to see the new FPP video, written and produced by Richard Gaylord and narrated by David Swafford.
Coal. It takes millions of years and tons of pressure to transform organic material into this black, energy-rich mineral. This is the Black Thunder Mine in Wyoming, operated by Arco Coal Company. It is the largest surface mine in the U.S. and the second largest in the entire world. Trains make the 1,500-mile journey from the Black Thunder Mine to the Fayette Power Project in LaGrange, Texas, about every other day. This Wyoming coal is the primary source of fuel for the 3 generating units here in Fayette County. It is amazing how this lump of coal, which you can see and touch, can be transformed into something invisible, yet as powerful as electricity. The coal is burned in a furnace. The heat boils water to make steam, which then spins a turbine generator to make electricity. That's the simple version of the story. Right now we're going to take you behind the scenes, inside this power plant, to show you just how this incredible process happens. Fire. This is the view inside of Unit 3's furnace, where temperatures reach 2,000 degrees. This is the heart of the operation, where the drive for the entire process originates. Each of the tall stacks represents a generating unit. The first 2 units took 6 years to build and were completed in 1980. They are owned jointly by the Lower Colorado River Authority and the City of Austin. Unit 3 was completed in 1988. And is owned totally by LCRA. All 3 units were finished on time and under budget at a total cost of nearly $1 billion. They have a combined generating capacity of 1,505 megawatts. That is enough electricity to power over 400,000 average-size homes. Coal is the lifeblood of the generation process. It takes some 25,000 tons of coal per day to operate the 3 units at FPP. And although most of the coal comes from Wyoming, about 10% of the fuel for Unit 3 comes from this nearby lignite mine in Bastrop County. The Powell Bend mine produces about 200,000 tons of lignite each year, which is also transported to the plant by rail. Once the trains arrive at the plant, the cars make their way one by one to this coal car dumper. The cars are equipped with special couplers which allow them to be rotated completely upside down. It takes about 4 hours to dump an entire train of 110 cars. Just a few miles down the tracks in Smithville is LCRA's Rail Fleet Maintenance Facility. These crews inspect, service, and repair some 1,500 cars per year. They keep LCRA's rail fleet in tip-top shape, and all of the work is done in-house by LCRA employees. Once the coal has been dumped, it is moved by a conveyor system to this huge storage pile, which represents about a 60-day supply. It is moved from here, again by conveyor belts, through an elaborate coal handling system. The coal is crushed into smaller pieces and then fed from these storage silos into pulverizers, which grind it into a powder form, similar to the consistency of talcum powder. This powdered coal is blown into the furnace to fuel the fire. The walls of the furnace are lined by rows of pipes which contain water. The heat from the fire boils the water and creates steam. This steam is gathered into a main pipe and delivered to the turbine at a pressure of 2,400 pounds per square inch. This extreme pressure is used to spin the turbine at a constant 3,600 revolutions per minute. This spinning motion inside of the generator is converted by a magnetic field from mechanical energy into electrical energy, creating our final product, electricity. LCRA provides this electricity to 33 cities and 11 electric cooperatives in a 41-county area. These cities and co-ops serve about 800,000 people in Central Texas. This 2,400-acre cooling lake was built as a water source for the plant. Known as Lake Fayette, it is now one of the best bass fishing spots in Central Texas. This massive intake structure draws water in from the lake to serve the various water needs of the plant.
The boiler water is treated here at the power plant's water treatment facility. All suspended solids, such as dirt and sand, are removed. Even minerals like salt and calcium are taken out, producing extremely pure water.
Here in the water lab, sampling and monitoring are done on a daily basis to ensure quality. This is the nerve center of the electrical generation process, the control room. Here, all phases of the operation are monitored and controlled.
As a control room operator, I monitor three major functions: fuel flow, airflow, and feed water flow. With the unit at full load at 600 megawatts, the unit can burn anywhere from 325 to 350 tons of coal an hour. Also, we monitor feed water flow and airflow to increase plant efficiency.
When coal is burned, certain byproducts are produced. First, there is the ash left over from the combustion process. It falls to the bottom of the furnace and is mixed with water and piped out to the ash storage pond. The finer ash, which travels up with the hot gases toward the stacks, is captured by what is called an electrostatic precipitator. It works by energizing the ash particles in the furnace gases with an electrical charge. Metal plates inside of the precipitator are energized with the opposite charge, thus attracting the particles like a magnet. This ash byproduct, which used to be buried as waste, is now sold as a concrete additive, and it can also be used as a road-based material. Because it was built more recently, Unit 3 has an additional emission control system called a scrubber. The scrubber is designed to remove sulfur dioxide from furnace exhaust gases by spraying them with a mixture of limestone and water. Sulfur dioxide is the chemical associated with the acid rain problem, and this scrubbing process removes 90% of this SO2 from the furnace gases. The steam plume coming from Unit 3's stack is the result of condensing moisture from the scrubbing process. LCRA environmental specialists monitor air emissions continuously through instruments located on the stacks and by testing samples from remote air quality stations located away from the plant site.
We feel our job here, our role as members of the environmental department is very important. Beyond the obvious of meeting the regulatory requirements and standards, we try to go a step beyond that. We try to be good neighbors, and we feel we are good neighbors. We live in the area, we raise our children here, and We try to be good stewards of the air, the water, and the land, and we feel that should be everyone's role.
There are about 500 full-time employees here at the Fayette Power Project. It is the major employer in Fayette County and has an annual payroll of more than $18 million. Providing electricity, a service which is so important in today's society, is a responsibility not taken lightly by these employees.
It really gives me a great sense of satisfaction to know that we do provide an essential service. This service to me is just as important as a fireman or a policeman or even a doctor. We are so dependent upon the electricity now for our everyday lives that it is a viable essential service, and we take a great deal of pride in being the people that produce this or provide this service for our customers.
In addition to the Fayette Power Project, LCRA also has 2 gas-fired plants, Sim Gideon in Bastrop and the Thomas C. Ferguson plant in Marble Falls. There are also 6 hydroelectric dams on the lower Colorado River. This diverse mix of generation sources and the hard work and dedication of our employees helps the lower Colorado River Authority continue to provide the people of Central Texas with the most economical and reliable electric service possible.